Hello and welcome to DiceJesters. My name is Julie, and today I will be discussing my top 5 games of, I wouldn't say half the year because we're over half the year now, so August, September-ish. And I just kind of wanted to update just because we have been playing a lot more games due to the restructure of our season 4 of DiceJesters. So we've been able to get in more games as opposed to only playing 10 games. If you are new here, welcome, and huzzah to you joining us today. If you haven't heard of our podcast, it's a podcast that deep dives into games. We play 10 games 10 times. And season 4, we kind of mixed it up ever so slightly by adding in little break episodes where we play more lighthearted games that we can use as a palate cleanser from when we're in the midst of playing one of the games 10 times. So to start off this top 5 would be with my number 5 as 5 Tribes. So I like 5 Tribes. If you had watched our previous YouTube video, you would see that the Mancala was one of the mechanisms that I personally really enjoyed, and 5 Tribes has that where you pick up a pile of meeples and you do and then place, and whichever you place, that color needs to be already found on that card so that you can withdraw that color from that card and then perform the action. I really like 5 Tribes because of that Mancala aspect, and I enjoy that I see it as kind of like a collection game because I go for the green cards a lot, and that seems to always give me the upper hand on Dave. So I think it's really fun. It's really easy to learn if you're not familiar with it and you like to play in group settings or maybe with family members who aren't gamers. This one is really nice, especially if they had played Mancala in the past. It's easy to pick up. So yeah, I like that one a lot, which leads into number 4. And I don't know if number 4 is just because the spooky season is coming up, but that's Dracula versus Van Helsing. So we had initially played it for our first break between season 1 and season 2. And in that, it was during October. So we played a bunch of Halloween games, Halloween spooky themed games. And so Dracula versus Van Helsing is a resummoning, and resummoning is what we introduced in season 4. And so I just love the game. You can either play as Dracula or Van Helsing, and if you're Van Helsing, you want to basically capture Dracula, for better terms. And if you're Dracula, you want to change your townspeople into your vampire army. And so I like that. I like that a lot. If that's something that you're interested in or you're looking for more of a spooky game to play, yeah, I'm sure there's lots of playthroughs out on YouTube about it. Number 3 is one from our Jesters Gambit, and that is Ginkgopolis. If you aren't familiar with Ginkgopolis, it is a city building game, I would say, and it's super fun because you're going up against your opponent and you think that you have this great big tower that you built, and then they come in and take your dreams away by just taking off all your pieces and then putting on their pieces, and then you're crushed because you spent a lot of time in trying to get the cards. So I love it. Dave and I are very big into competing with each other. So any games that have that direct interaction with one another, we are naturally drawn to, and this is one of them. I also love that it's based off the ginkgo leaf, the ginkgo tree, so the points are that leaf, and it's super cute. And so yeah, if you are an intermediate gamer or beginner or even a seasoned gamer, I think that game would be an enjoyable game to play. And that leads me to number 2. So number 2, I would say, is A Feast for Odin. I love number 2 because when I saw it on the table, I was scared of it, to be fair. And then we had gone through the first play, And I was like, oh, actually, this isn't that bad. I love this game. It's more simple than it looks. It looks scary, but I promise you it's not scary. And if I can do it, you can do it. If you want to hear more about how that went from first impressions to first play to after 9 rounds of it, this was another game that was featured on our podcast for a Jesters Gambit, and we deep dive into that. So you do hear my initial reaction of being fearful of the game, intimidated, if you will, and then you hear about how it changes to a game that I end up enjoying, and I do recommend it. If you look at it and just break it down, I promise you it's not as overwhelming as it may seem if it does seem like an overwhelming game. And if you have any questions of it because you want to try it, feel free to comment, because I learn differently. So I am very open with sharing how I learn things. And maybe if I was able to learn it, maybe we have the same learning style, and then I could help you too. But it's a game that I really like. So I know I was talking about how much I liked it, but it kind of has like this Tetris feel where you get all these tiles and then you put them onto a bigger map. And then there's also these ships, and then there's gathering of resources. I love any resource conversion game. And resource conversions, like you start with an apple and then you have a tree. So it's kind of like that where you build up off of it. Or maybe you would start with the tree and then have an apple. Or maybe it's the seed. I don't know. You know, you build, okay? You get red, and then red turns yellow turns green, turns blue. That's the top, you know? So it's like that. And if you like resource conversion and a little bit of Tetris with some strategic mindset, A Feast for Odin's where it's at. Am I probably the only person who will explain that game that way? Probably, and that's okay. And then top 1 for today is Bruges. Bruges was initially introduced to me in season 2 of DiceJesters, so if you want to hear a rundown of that 10 by 10, you can go to season 2 for Bruges. And I just love Bruges. I may be slightly biased due to it having a Renaissance theme, but regardless of the theme, I do think that it is done really well with the cards, because you use the cards as your resources, and the cards also kind of make you either be patient or they confuse you and make you lay down the free ones. And then the free ones kind of convolute your neighborhood. And then the end of the game comes and you're like, oh, I see. I should have just waited for these certain things. I don't know. It's fun. You build canals. There's a jester card in there. There's all these fun little aspects of it that I really enjoy. And again, it has that like boom, boom, competitive side to it. So yeah, just love Bruges. It has been one of my top games since season 2 of DiceJesters. Yeah, so I would love to hear what you're playing right now, or maybe what your top 5 is in the comments. And if you do want to listen to the podcast, you can listen to it here on YouTube, and or go to where you listen to podcasts, whether that's like Pocket Cast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you know, all those places. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and as always, play games with the ones you love. Bye.